Good morning, grade 7s, and welcome to your maths lesson for today, brought to you by WorksheetCloud.com. I hope you guys are well and looking forward to your lesson today. Okay, so just a reminder of the email address on the screen in front of you, grade7@WorksheetCloud.com. Please feel free to use that to send in any questions on any of the work we're going to chat about today, or previous lessons, or any work that we haven't covered that you would like some clarification on. You will also find on WorksheetCloud.com that there is access to previous lessons. So if you've just joined us, there's several lessons we've done over the past few weeks, along with activities and memos for you to practice those concepts. And I encourage you to grab hold of the opportunity to improve your studies offered to you by WorksheetCloud. Okay, so today we are going to have a look at percentages. So we started with percentages a couple days ago, and today we're going to have a look at percentage increase and decrease, which can be tied into profit and loss, and then your usual warm-ups and finishes on either side of that. Okay, so your warm-up for today is as follows. You need to use your math skills to find out the value of each symbol, and don't forget to work out the question mark at the end. Right, off you go. Okay guys, well done for working through that. So I'm going to start on the third line with the panda, and we know that 2 minus 1 is equal to 1. Okay, from there I'm going to go have a look at this fourth line. And that's going to be something is equal to 8 minus 4 minus the 1. Okay, so 4 minus 1 is 3. Do the brackets first. Then 8 minus 3 is 5. Okay, from there I just filled in a few things that are new. So I'm just going to put in subtract 1 to equal the 5. Okay, on this line, okay, over there, I'm just going to have 3. All right, I'm going to have 3 minus 3 is equal to 0. Okay, now I could have used any number subtracted itself there, but then you'd have to see if your numbers worked going throughout the whole puzzle. Okay, so I use 3 minus 3 is equal to 0. So then I know that 3 plus 3 minus 1 is 5. Okay, so then my 3 minus 3 for my kangaroo and crocodile, I'm expecting it to be correct because it worked in the first line. And then right at the bottom of the page, we're going to have 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 5. And remember, you can do a multiplication sum in any order. You still get the same answer. So you can go 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 5 is 45. Or you could go 3 times 5 is 15. And 15 times 3 is also 45. Okay, so there's the solution for today's warm-up. I hope you guys work through it properly and get benefit from it. Your mental maths questions for today are, as usual, based on previous lessons and some of the work that we've covered. So off you go and do those 5 questions, and then press play to see how well you've done in those. Okay, let's have a look at how you did in those questions. So question number 1 is 20% of 130. So we spoke about finding out 10% first, and to find out 10%, we just divide by 10. So that equals 13. And now I know 10%, I can see that 20% is going to be double and is equal to 26. Okay, if you hadn't have worked it out like that, and you'd used a fraction, you know that 20% is 20 out of 100. You know that 20 out of 100 is 1/5. Okay, so therefore 1/5 of 130. Okay, and that's 1/5 multiplied by 130 over 1. And then you need to work out 130 divided by 5. And if you work that out, you'll get 26. So those are your 2 options for question number 1. Question number 2 is a concept that we covered a few weeks back. So it'll be interesting to see if you can remember how to write a number as a product of its primes. Remember, prime numbers have only got 2 factors, themselves and the number 1. So for example, the number 7 can only be divided by 7 and 1. So therefore it's a prime number. Okay. There were 2 methods that I introduced you to. I introduced you to the ladder method. All right. My lowest prime number that goes into 56 is 2. Remember, 2 is the only even prime number. And that goes in 28 times. And then we said 2 again. That goes in 14 times. 2 again. 7 times. What prime number goes into 7 is 7. And then I'm left with 1. And then to write that out using exponents, it's 2 cubed because there are 1, 2, 3 of them, multiplied by 7. And we need to check that answer. We know that 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8, multiplied by 7. And that gives me my 56 that I started with. So we know that we're correct. Remember, always check your work as soon as you've done it. Okay, then long division question, 663 divided by 13. Okay, and I'm just going to draw a table for you. Okay, put 13 here. All right, so if I multiply 13 by 10, I get 130. Okay, so if I multiply it by 20, I can just double it to 260. All right. I can double it again to multiply it by 40, and that's going to give me 520. All right. Now I need to look. I've still got to get from 520 to 663. So if you look at the numbers that we've put on this, or that I've put on the screen already, I'm hoping that you can identify that 130 add 520 is going to give me 650. Okay, so that means it's 10 and 40. All right, so 650 divided by 13 is going to give me 50. Okay, and if I go the other way, 50 multiplied by 13 gives me 650. So now I should be able to recognize that until 663, I need an additional group of 13. So therefore, my answer is going to be 51. There's that additional group of 13. Okay, so we started out doing long division like this a few lessons ago. And I'm hoping that you're starting to pick up that it's a lot easier to multiply by 10 and then just double it again, look at the numbers, see how close you can get to the dividend. Email me your questions, let me know your ideas and your opinions. It'll be interesting to read those. Okay, then we had a fraction sum. Okay, and the one comment I always get from grade 8 teachers is we need to be teaching fractions better at prep school. So we need to practice them a lot. You need to make sure that you understand them, because once you get to grade 8, your teachers are just going to assume that you know what's going on. Okay, so we've got 2/5 plus 3/4 divided by, it was 1/4. Okay, and we know that because of order of operations, we need to do, and I'm going to put it in brackets, the division first. Okay, and we know that when we divide, the division sign changes to multiply, and the fraction after the division sign gets inverted to its reciprocal. Okay, now I can multiply the numerators together, and that's going to give me 12. I can multiply the denominators together, that's going to give me 4. And we know that 12 over 4 is equal to 3. Okay, so now I've got 3/5 plus 3. Okay, and you should be able to see your answer is going to be 3 and 3/5. All right. Okay, and then your last question was this testing, well not testing, was just to see if you guys had remembered your exponents. Okay, and remember that 12 squared is the same as 12 multiplied by 12. Okay, that 3 cubed is the same as 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3, and that 5 squared is 5 multiplied by 5. So you know that 12 squared, 12 times 12 is 144. 3 cubed, 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. And we needed to subtract 25. And you should get an answer of 146. That's your mental maths questions for today. I hope you guys are remembering the previous topics and content that we're covering. And don't forget to do the activities that we've set for you online just to consolidate whatever you've learned in your lesson today. Okay, so today we're going to have a look at percentage increase or decrease. Now, sometimes we're given an original value and a new value, and we are asked to find the percentage increase or decrease. So what I mean is in an example that we'll look at over the page, but that's how you calculate your percentage increase. You take the actual increase and you put it over the original amount and you multiply by 100%, which is the same as multiplying by 100 over 1. So the key here is to recognize that the denominator is always the original amount, okay? With percentage decrease, it's very similar. The only difference is now you're taking the actual decrease over the original amount. So again, recognize that the denominator is the original amount and you're multiplying by 100% or 100 over 1. Okay, so here's an example for you to have a look at. If a baby weighs 3.5 kilograms at birth, and after 6 weeks the baby's weight has increased to 4.2 kilograms, the question would be, what is the baby's percentage increase in weight over those 6 weeks? All right. So the first thing we need to do is actually figure out what is the increase. And we do that by 4.2 minus the 3.5. So the baby has increased by 0.7 kilograms over the 6 weeks. So the formula, if you remember, was the actual increase over the original amount. Okay, so what I've done now is I've converted the 0.7 kilograms to grams, and I've converted the original weight of the baby, 3.5 kilograms, to 3,500 grams. Now the reason I've done that is to take out the decimal. Okay, otherwise I'd have 0.7 divided by 3.5, and that for me just creates a little bit of confusion, and there's also a larger opportunity to make errors if we're dividing by decimals. So just convert them. Okay, we all know 1,000 grams in a kilogram, so 0.7 multiplied by 1,000 is 700, and 3.5 multiplied by 1,000 is 3,500. So once you've figured that out and you do 700 over 3,500, which is equivalent to 7 over 35, which is a fifth, okay, and you do 1/5 times 100, you will get an answer of 20%. So the 0.7 kilograms that the baby has increased in weight is 20% increase over the 6 weeks. All right. If we have a look at a percentage decrease, okay, and this is something that you'll see quite often in shops. You'll go into a shop and perhaps a 25 Rand t-shirt has been reduced to 17 Rand, and now you can find out or calculate what is the percentage decrease. All right, and the same thing applies, is you need to first find out the actual decrease. So 25 minus 17, and we know that equals 8 Rand. Okay, then the formula was the change, which is the 8 Rand, over the original amount, which is the 25 Rand, and then that multiplied by 100 over 1. Okay, and when you do that question, you'll come to an answer of 32%. Okay, so I'm going to give you an opportunity to work 2 out by yourself. So first go and calculate the price of a TV that goes up from 2,500 Rand to 2,700 Rand. And I need you to calculate the percentage increase. And in the second question, in a sale, the price of a book was slashed from 5 Rand to 3 Rand 30. Calculate the percentage decrease in price. Okay, so rewind and have a look at what I've just spoken to you about, the formulas for increase and decrease, and work through it, listen to it again, and keep trying to work it out until you feel you've got the correct answer. Right, and then press play to see how you've gone. Let's have a look at how you guys did. So remember, the very first thing that we needed to do was calculate the increase. So the increase is going to be 2,700 take away 2,500. That's going to give me an answer of 200 Rand. Okay, so the TV has gone up 200 Rand, and we said that it was going to be 200 Rand over the original amount, which is 2,500. And now I need to work out what percentage is 200 out of 2,500. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to simplify that fraction and recognize that 100 goes into both 200 and into 2,500. So now all I'm left with is 2 over 25. Okay, and to get that into a percentage, I know I must get it out of 100. So I multiply the denominator by 4. That gives me 100. I multiply the numerator by 4. That gives me 8. So the price has increased by 8%. Okay. And similarly for the decrease with the book. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to work out what is the actual decrease. And we know it's 5 Rand minus 3 Rand 30, which is 1 Rand 70. Okay, the original price was 5 Rand. So now I need to work out how much is 1 Rand 70 as a percentage of 5 Rand. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually convert it both to cents, because I don't want to work with decimals. So I know that's going to be 170 cents over 500 cents. I know that for a percentage, I need to put the denominator out of 100. Okay, and I divide it by 5 to get from 500 to 100. So I must divide 170 by 5. We know 100 divided by 5 is 20. 70 divided by 5 is 14. So we put that together, that's 34. And the percentage decrease is 34%. Okay? So those 2 examples, go back, play them again. Just make sure you understand the concepts that we are trying to get across to you. Okay, that leads us into finding a percentage profit. Okay, and again, it's very similar. It's perhaps just a change in terminology. So if a shopkeeper buys chocolate bars at wholesale at a price of 32 cents per bar, really cheap chocolate, then she sells the chocolate bar in her shop at 50 cents each. So what is her percentage profit? So that's the same thing again. I need to figure out what is the actual increase. So her actual profit is 18 cents. She bought for 32, she sells for 50. So she makes 18 cents profit on each chocolate bar. And again, we put the 18 cents over the original amount, convert that to a percentage, and we should get 56.25%. All right, and then for percentage loss, if a share dealer buys a number of shares at 3 Rand 68, after a week the price of the shares has dropped to 3 Rand 22, then what is the percentage loss? So we need to first work out how much is the loss, and we do that via subtraction. Okay, and that loss is 46 cents. Then we need to put that 46 over 3 Rand 68. So just notice what I've done again is I've got rid of the decimal, and I've said 46 cents over 368 cents instead of 46 cents over 3 Rand 68. So you wouldn't be able to work out the percentage if you had cents over rands. It's got to be both cents, or it's got to be both rands and cents. And I encourage you to use options where there are no decimals. Okay, and then if you work that out, you'll check that it's 12.5%. So 46 over 368 will actually simplify to 1/8. Okay, so that's percentage profit and loss. Okay guys, there's your finisher for today. We're almost there. You know by now that you need to go work out the value of the symbols in the multiplication table. Off you go and see if you can get that done. Look at this multiplication table. So I just need to put the 10 in. Okay, so we know 10 times 4 is 40. Okay, I know that 10 times 8 is going to give me this 80. Okay, so if the hamburger is 8, then that hamburger must be 8, and that hamburger must be 8. Okay, so that straight away tells me that the French fries will be 2, because 2 times 4 is 8. Alright, that tells me that the cake is going to be 32, because 8 times 4 is 32. So then that must be 32. Alright, and now I need to know 2 multiplied by 16 is going to give me 32. Okay, 2 multiplied by 8 is 16, so these two values need to be the same because they're the same over here. Alright, then the middle column will be 64, so the taco is 64 because 8 times 8 is 64, and the fried egg at the end is going to be 10 times 16, and that gives me 160. Okay. Sorry, that didn't line up as correctly as I'd hoped it to. But there you've got the answers in front of you. Yeah, I hope you guys are getting to work through those as best as possible. Okay, your last challenge for today is 24. So remember that you got to use each slide and make the answer 24. So for example, on the first slide, it's 2, 6, 7, and 4. How can you use those 4 numbers using any of the operational signs that you want to make an answer of 24? Okay. Remember to challenge someone at home to see if they can come up with an answer of 24. And the second part of the challenge is to see how many different ways you can come up with the answer of 24. Okay, guys, that's us done for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something new. Please send me your questions at grade 7@WorksheetCloud.com. Have a look at today's activities and the memos there for you as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Keep safe, grade 7s.